Yeah, this is just me. And waking up early on a new year. And I promise a lot of stuff that I've been doing for the last 10, I'm going to leave behind. So, I was just on Big J Triple X's video, and I may cut out that part, man, because the part that I was on, I just stopped by and I put in one comment, LOL, and he dropped the link. I guess you want to come up, you know. Really, it's not that I want to come up. He actually wanted me to come up. So I graced him. I graced him with my presence. And I came up in the Lions Den. And I really came up because the dude Haitian had said something really interesting about in the Haitian family, men were extra. And the real family in the Haitian community was a woman and her children, which tends toward a matriarchy and the definition of a matriarchy, which is similar to what the ADOS community has. So I'm saying it might be a remnants of slave culture, how we operate our families. And that's why I really wanted to come up and ask him, actually clarify what he meant by that. And so since I was there, guess what? You're in the Lions, and then they're going to start shooting questions at you because you're the resident Manosphere, black Manosphere person, which I don't mind. And what I do mind is basically not being able to finish a point. That's what I do mind. I really don't. If you're going to ask me a question, let me answer it. But since you're in a female environment, even though Big J says it's a male environment, it's actually a female environment, a female feminist environment. They act like females. And they ask you 4 or 5 different questions, and they never let you finish one answer. Because it's really not about an answer. They really don't want to answer. They really just want to hear themselves talk, which is fine. But I was listening to one of his podcasts, because I don't know why it comes up in the feed. I guess I got to put not interested again so I don't get it anymore, right? So he came up in the feed, and it was on live, and I was listening in, I was joking with him, right? And he was going off as normal about the black manosphere and how it should be cleaned up, and how people should be gotten rid of and reset and all that kind of stuff. And what he's doing, he's stuck in what he call 1.0 days, right? You can go back and forth in the video and do that kind of response and all that kind of crap. That stuff doesn't work anymore for the most part. 2.0 basically changed the game, and what really happened for the most part, I changed the game when I actually allowed panels, like open panels, because when I came through MGTOW, open panels were really not allowed. I mean, you would see a little bit on Blog Talk. You might get an open panel here and there, and really it was closed for the most part. If the author didn't want you, they didn't want to invite you up, you wasn't invited up. But I started open panels, just come one, come all, right? And anybody that wanted to get a link and come up, as long as they were respectful and respected the panel, they could come up and give their opinions and go back and forth. So I basically changed the game as far as that was concerned, as far as the black manosphere. And that was replicated as it normally is, because somebody brought something out and made it work. But what I want to say is that as far as the goals of the man 1.0 and 2.0 and that kind of stuff, when I say escape velocity, those things are already done. Just want to say, Big J, you fighting against the black manosphere per se is useless, because that stuff is already done. It's already canon, as they say. It's already baked. It's already out the door. It's already spread. You can't take it back. You can't even influence it for the most part. That's how you ever, like you talked about Scott Galloway, but you refused to talk about Chetty and Reeves, that are also part of that milieu, and Christine Imba, who's also part of that milieu. There was, I can't remember, I think it was Kearney. She just wrote a book called The Two-Parent Advantage. She's also part of that milieu. And what they're trying to do is slowly but surely shift this pendulum back away from this radical feminism. This doesn't work, back to something even to where the civilization can actually work, can actually operate and be organized. But I know that's above your pay grade. I know that's above your understanding. That's why you don't see it. That's like when you always talk about Edward, or you talk about O'Shea, or you talk about Obsidian, or Angry Man, or whatever, right? And those people are founders, and they still are relevant as far as YouTube. But as far as the mission is concerned, okay, that part is over. It's already done. Kevin Samuels was the pinnacle and the breakthrough of the manosphere and the black manosphere. When Kevin broke through, the black manosphere broke through first, and the white manosphere follows. That's how come a lot of stuff that you hear, including people like Pearl and Rolla Tomasi and all the others, repeat a lot of stuff that we say. We were the breakthrough. That stuff is not only here in the United States, it's in Europe, it's in Asia, it's in Korea, it's in China, it's in Japan, it's all over. The influence is all over. And what Passport Bros did is spread it even further and even faster. That's SYSBM. Save Yourself Black Man. In fact, Richie Mack from Zoom to Thailand, he had his wife or his girlfriend that's with him in Thailand repeat the same thing. Save Yourself Black Man. You see, your Filipino women say the same thing. Save Yourself Black Man through Passport Bros. So in other words, I don't know what's your name gets your information about Passport Bros and nations, because you guys don't understand how nations work, how money works, how economic works. American dollars are still king. American dollars still balance your economy. American dollars is recruiting a man to go visit a country or even stay in the country, what we call digital nomads. Stay in the country, those are American dollars. They're being recruited all over the world, as they should. But you won't know that about Passport Bros and why Passport Bros is growing and actually encouraged by other countries, because you don't know enough. And the reason that you don't think I can debate is because you can't understand what I'm saying. And you won't let me talk long enough to simplify it for you. But that is also beyond your pay grade. But that is not necessarily Black Manosphere or even Manosphere period. Manosphere, Black Manosphere especially, the 1.0, 2.0, three things. Counter narrative to what Black women and Black feminists are actually talking about. Done. To actually make Black men and men in general more aware of their rights and privileges and their options. That's what was done. Done. The third thing was start a conversation between Black men and Black women on an equal basis, on an equal narrative. Done. All that stuff is done. All that stuff is not only done in the Black community, which you can see starting to shift, and not only on the ground, not only in the legal system, but also in the academic system, but also across the planet. They're looking to the Black Manosphere for answers, which is why Scott Galloway, why Reeves, why Chetty, and why Imba, and why Kearney are actually aping and basically repeating the same talking points that came out of the Manosphere and the Black Manosphere especially. Which is why the academics are actually worried about it, is because they're being forced to shift because the money's going to change. But you trying to kill basically the Black Manosphere and try to get us off of YouTube doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything to me. All I have to do is write. I can sell books. I can go to Medium and start writing blogs, which my PhD advisors are telling me to do. They're telling me I need to publish so that my ideas can be solidified. So what you're trying to do as far as getting rid of the Black Manosphere is a fool's errand, sir. Trying to get rid of the Passport Bros at your level is a fool's errand, sir. You have a right to complain about it, but you're yelling at the moon. Nobody's hearing you. Nobody's hearing you. One is because what you're talking about makes no sense. And number two, you don't have a cogent counter narrative and an answer. You have complaints. You have no answers. And if you do have answers, they're not cogent enough to make sense. Because every time I try to suss out what you're pointing at and what you're trying to go to and what you're trying to get at, I can't make sense of it. And neither can anybody else. Because it's not grounded in anything. You don't read enough. I can tell because you're like 5 years too late in everything you're talking about. How about Scott Galloway? Could have talked about Scott Galloway in 2019. Or at the very late is 2020, when Chetty, Reeves, and Galloway were actually talking about this kind of stuff. You haven't even read Boys and Men by Richard Reeves, who's the centerpiece of all of this. They're trying to basically convince feminists and the feminist-minded women that it would be a good idea not to have your civilization collapse, which is what's going to happen if they can't get boys and men to cooperate. Your civilization and society will collapse. But you don't know that because you haven't read enough, and I don't even know if you're smart enough to even figure it out. I've given up hope that you are. I've given up hope that you in pure butterfly spirit are smart enough to figure this out. So at the end of the day, I don't know. I may drop in again, I may not. But the thing is, at this point, new year, new outlook, and new objectives. I'm behind. I got to write books. Got to do blogs. I got to publish. I got a whole series on Patreon I have to finish. And I have to start cutting ties and stop wasting time. So if you don't hear from me, it's not because I don't love you, boss. I don't have time for you. But anyway, with that, I'm going to post this on my Black Master Teachers Response, and I'm going to put your name in it. You can respond to it, whatever you want. If you're going to respond to me, come to me with something that's solid. Something that's solid. Something that actually makes sense. Stop being a woman for a second. Use your logic brain. Bring your references. References. Publish this stuff. At least put the links in to where we can actually look at this kind of stuff without trying to guess. At least the one thing I do is actually show you the stuff. You basically put up a black screen and rant. I can rant. If you want to have a ranting contest, we can do that. I don't think you want to hear me rant against you because it wouldn't be pretty. Would not be pretty. Would not be pretty. Well, anyhow, let me put this up and I will talk to you guys later.